Hey everybody, Ungol here, bringing you another Empire Box video. This one is from the Dark Master himself, Plague Penguin, and I'm using this to illustrate an even more committed form of Statbox push. Plague Penguin's been one of the most notable Empire mains in Land Battle and Dom for a very long time. Great player, very fun to practice with. Um, and he's doing like a wide stat build, which is a pretty common tier one archetype in Domination these days. It used to be like the best, and now it's more like balanced. So the premise of these kinds of builds is that you take a lot of cheap infantry that has good stats, and you take a lot of supporting ranged units that have good stats, and you outstat them. And this can work really well because basically, like the total health and the total damage of his Empire army is higher than that of my Slanesh army. Um, and that's kind of the gist. The trade off obviously is you lose out on mobility, and you're sometimes susceptible to like mass and stuff, and so you have to build your comp to adjust accordingly. This is a cool unit. It's like stock, high DPS. Blood Penguin absolutely loves this unit, and we played this in a league game where I was hoping to practice more into Empire, so I didn't ban it, and I get punished. This is an illustration of him doing a good job with the stat push. Pausing for a second, uh, he's set up pretty well, I think. He's got like multiple ranks. There's a couple vulnerabilities like these units being stacked, but you can see like his archers all cover each other. They're not too far on top of each other. It's difficult to get into the elite piece. He's got a good spread of melee units, so it's difficult to get into the box. This Arch Lector is a piece of tech that we've been working on a bit. The idea is it's just the toughest lord on the Empire roster that's cheap, and you want to not have your lord die. That's one issue with these stat builds. Like he's a little light on cav. And then he's got some elite infantry in the back with these great swords that are really, really good at clearing our own high-end infantry. They're like excellent armored duelists. So he pushes up. This is good play. What you want to do is make sure that you're contesting enough points that they can't run away with the game while also being in a good position to fight. So he's positioning in a strong defensive spot between points 1 and 2. On the Slanesh side, I'm building up. I'm trying to get like a nice surround. I want to get units around the sides if I can, and arrive approximately with everything at the same time. Got this big mortis. So Blood Penguin sets up, pushes onto mid, and because his reinforcements are very statty, he's not really under time pressure. He scales well. So if we each sit here summoning units, Blood Penguin's army tends to get about as strong or stronger than mine. So he's okay to cap 2 points and be patient. He doesn't really need to be poking or anything. I need to come to him. And then he's setting up preemptively to have some of his best pieces in position for my dive. Here comes the dive. And I kind of know he's got silver bullets somewhere because Blood Penguin loves this unit so much. So, we get an overcast on it. As soon as it appears, this unit would be even better if this was not happening. So Slanesh gets a little bit of a sloppy charge on my part. This is after workday. We should ideally be getting one of our units on one of each of his, and then the stuff that isn't matching his front line gets through to the back line. He just pulled a very nice tactic here. So he had a bad matchup of Spearman on Forsaken, and then he did a switch. So he got the Great Swords, which crush Forsaken to charge, and he pulled the Spearman out. It's a nice little micro tactic. And that's kind of it. It's a box formation. This flavor of it, unlike the one I posted in a previous video with skirms, is really easy to execute on. So it's a great kind of strategy if you're just like picking up the format and trying to try something that works pretty well out. And Empire is one of the best factions at these stat builds right now because they have really efficient archers and infantry, and they can also do some other things that you need to worry about, which means you can't necessarily be all ready for the stat build. So I'm wheeling around, trying to get good targets with my cav, trying to get good hits with my chariot. Blood Penguin's counter summoning mass to stop that, so that's a key thing. Like bringing in a lot of static units and then a little bit of mass to obstruct their mobility. And you can see he's starting to pull ahead on damage here. But I've got a pretty good initial engage. It's not perfect, but we're routing lots of stuff off. And as this game progresses, you'll really see the value in the stat build. So just going to fast forward. And you can see, like, unlike a lot of dives where the melee units on the diving faction overpower, in this case, Blood Penguin has a lot of like pretty girthy, meaty things, and he's summoning in all these free company militia that are really good at shooting cav, and we're fighting closer to his spawn. So despite me getting like a good initial shock, he's coming back and pulling pretty far ahead because of like the raw efficiency of the stats of his units. And that's kind of what the stat build is all about. Like you don't have to win by as much as a lot of these box and kite formations, so long as you can avoid them doing things like running away with the game with chariots, which he does really well here. He stuffs the chariot, and part of this is because you're just trying to trade well on a unit per unit basis. You want to identify the enemy units that are most likely to create a lot of value and shut those down. And then unfortunately, the Free Company Militia or the raw handguns rally, and they just eviscerate my chariot dagger. I guess that's the advantage of a very high base leadership unit. Um, and that's kind of it. He's slow pushing, trying to keep some points. He's guarding his flank, reinforcing with heavy cav. He's out trading. He's getting good. He's got an efficient caster here, so this will do good damage. And at this point, I'm behind enough in the game that I'm priced into continually reinforcing mobility and getting outstatted. And now he just needs to, keep some fire on this, which is one of my only things that can come from behind. It's got Terror and Mortis. And he's in pretty good shape after doing that. So good execution by Blood Penguin, like strong composition, matched up well against what I was doing. Good deployment, good initial push, strong use of reinforcements and counterfire. Overall, like very clean, well done game, and a good illustration of how you can play like a wide stat box if you're trying to do this yourself. We'll super fast forward because I'm dead. And it's good to watch what other people do. Like one of the biggest mistakes a lot of players make is they always look at it from their perspective. They're like, I made this mistake, I made that mistake, I needed to do better. You'll actually get better faster if you look at when somebody crushes you and try to identify what did they do well, because you can emulate those things. It's hard to be really good by just fixing every mistake you're making. You need to be doing things that are good and like proactively offensive. And so really at any player skill level, like the best thing you can do is watch someone else doing it right and try to take away what did they do there. So that's Blood Penguin doing it right. And that's another one of those like, level 0, level 1 good meta things. So you can take what he's got here against most factions in the game, and it's not going to be favored against all builds and all factions, but especially in quick battles, you're going to be playing with this kind of build. Like it has some game. Our Lord did great. Riff. So you can really see the power of the stat build here. Our Lord gets 3,900 value, and we're still like not even close because he's just eviscerating our chaff. We got some really bad Forsaken trades there. Yeah, almost nothing on the Slanesh roster did well. Nice job, Blood Penguin. It hurts. It hurts. It stings. Uh, he's a great guy, and I hate him. I hate him, guys. Yeah, all his stuff did well for the most part. Reinforcing Cav did kind of okay. These guys did great. They're shooting Cav. So that's it. If you like this kind of content, remember to subscribe. See you all soon.